Hey everyone. So today I want to kind of touch on a topic that I've alluded to before and even spoken on a little bit. But it is the idea that men have a nature, women have a nature, right? And we are very different in how we think and perceive the world. Turns out that, on a biological level, we don't differ that much. But we do still need to factor in the ways in which society has told men and women to show up and move about within the world, right? Like I said, there are some biological factors, not that much, but again, societal factors. And this is really important, especially for women in particular. And I hate picking on us. I know sometimes I'm just like, dang, why is everybody always talking about women? And I've said this before, but one of the reasons why it's so important to me is, well, one, you have a purpose, right? And unfortunately for women, we're often told that our purpose, excuse me, our purpose is wrapped up in whether or not we're partnered, whether or not we're young enough to even be part of relationships, right? There's always things about, oh, she's 30 now, oh this, oh that, right? And with women, we are just really expected to prioritize relationships in a way that men aren't. Men don't really prioritize relationships. It doesn't mean they don't want them. They absolutely do want them, but they don't have the societal pressures to actually prioritize relationships, right? That's why there's the term spinster, right? For women that are too old and never married, or get married later in life, right? They say she's washed up, she's spinster, she's this and that. Older men, though, they're a bachelor, right? They just don't have the same pressures on them. In fact, they're kind of, if anything, at best, they're even congratulated for holding out, quote unquote, so long. And this is really important because when it comes to dating and the ways in which we date now in 2023, it really lends itself to a lot of situations going left if we don't quite understand ourselves and the way guys actually go about meeting and dating women. Okay? So first of all, I always say women cast small nets, men cast wide ones. What does that mean? It means that by the time a woman is actually interested in a guy, a lot of times we've done quite a bit of pre-vetting on our part. I say pre-vetting because this is all even before we connect with them on some level, even before we talk with them, right? We say, okay, so this guy has potential to be a long-time partner because of these reasons. You may even have a crush on him already. Guys, this isn't necessarily for guys. This isn't necessarily the case. They may ask you out because they like your boobs and they're a boob guy, right? They cast wide nets. Even studies say when it comes to online dating, men have more of a tendency to just kind of swipe on everyone just to see what sticks. Women, we don't do that. We're not going to respond unless we're sure that we like you, right? And so when it comes to just our nature being choosier, and this isn't a bad thing. I hate when people say, oh, that's a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a thing. You need to understand why you're doing it so you can make sure that you're like, oh, okay, this is actually my nature talking, and I need to either broaden my horizons or maybe even shrink them a little bit. Really need to understand the ways in which I think, right? And so we've kind of been taught by society at large too that this Disney-esque idea that guys kind of think the way we do when it comes to dating. I almost said mating and dating, right? When it comes to dating, there's this idea that, oh, he's just he's just looking for this happily ever after. This is what he's prioritizing. This is, this is what he's really wanting. When in reality, guys are actually taught to prioritize money, power, where they are in life. They're taught to prioritize access to sex. And I'm not even talking about like guys who are players or anything. It's just because of how they're built. If there's the possibility that they could get some tail, they'll take it. if it's there, if the possibility for it is there, right? And we need to understand this when we're dating. We need to understand that we need to keep asking questions. We need to be curious about their intentions at all times, because what's going to happen is you're going to start dating and getting out here, and you're thinking, oh, he's chosen me because he really likes me. He really sees a future, right? We're thinking about it in terms of how we think, when in reality, he's just like, I have some time available. Let me see if I, can, let's see who's on Match right now. Let's see who's on OkCupid. Let's see who's on Tinder right now, because I have some time to kill this weekend, right? Just because he's chosen you doesn't mean that he wants to keep you in his life. It just that this is very much a exploratory experience for him, and that's what dating really should be. It should be an exploratory experience, right? But you should never assume that you're the only one. You should never assume that he is really, really into you, even if he seems he is, because he could just be excited, right? Really pretty, really cute, then yeah, he's gonna be excited, right? That doesn't mean he wants to stick around. We really need to understand when it comes to male nature that the way they're treating you is really saying where you are in terms of all the women in their life, right? Because a lot of times we have to understand that whether it's mentally or otherwise, guys are going to have their number one. They're going to have their favorite in their mind, whether or not she's attainable or not, whether she's kind of a figment of their imagination, that they think, oh, I'm going to be able to get this woman once I make, 6 figures or something, right? And so you need to keep in mind that, like I said, always asking questions, always being curious about where you stand, because if you are the number 4 woman in his mind, right? Let's say that the number 1 woman that he wants is not even someone who is in his sphere at the moment. Let's say that he wants to, like I said, wants to be a high earner, and it's going to unlock access to certain kind of women. So he may be dating right now, may really, really like you, and he may even get into a relationship with you, but he ultimately isn't going to commit long term, because he knows that once he gets to this certain level of life, he's going to want to actually get back out there and see, who is it that I could marry long-term or be with long-term now that I have money, right? That's what a lot of guys think. A lot of them think that, right? And I do want to say, that's not to say, I already know people are like, well, women do it too. Yeah, some do too, whatever. But that's just how a lot of them think, right? Don't put a lot of, don't put all of your eggs in one basket for someone that you really haven't gotten a chance to truly know, that you haven't gotten a chance to observe for a while, someone that you haven't gotten a chance to just, or I know some people say all 4 seasons, right? Just making sure that you're doing your due diligence and not assuming that someone thinks the same way as you do. There's 8 billion people in the world, right? So that's 8 billion different realities. And chances are that the person that you have a crush on or like or whatever at the moment, there's a really good chance that as dating is a process of elimination, that you're probably not going to be together long term, right? And I don't say that in a negative way at all. Like I said, dating is a process of elimination. All right, so just please keep that in mind when it comes to male nature. It's not that some of them, and I'm not talking about guys who are just being straight up, whatever, just players or whatever. This is all guys are like this, because I hate how some of them was like, oh, that's actually guys who are dogs, right? It's like, oh, that's actually players. No, this is actually very the regular part of male nature is to just not zero in necessarily in the same ways that women do. Some of them absolutely do. But they are much more open to the ways in which the process of dating lends itself to, how do I want to word this? Like I said earlier, they cast wider nets, right? And with that too, I will say, this doesn't mean that they don't have, they absolutely do have their preferences. Women, we're notorious for having really crazy preferences, but dudes do too. They just don't necessarily voice them, right? I was reading this statistic about height and how women, we really want someone at a certain height, but guys actually do too. They may not give a specific one, but they know, they're in line with what they want, right? But anyway, as I was saying, because I feel myself going off on tangents, and I'm like, got to talk quicker so I don't lose daylight. But I say all this to say, just make sure that you are properly vetting, you're properly asking the proper questions. You're making sure that you are the number one girl in their mind, number one woman, I should say, in their mind, right? That they're not using you to, or they're just not with you to pass time. That they're absolutely ready for something serious, if that's what you're looking for. They're absolutely looking for something serious, and that you're just not there. If you're not the one, you're the meantime, right? Which all this is so much easier said than done. I wish it was easier. But again, I see that time and time again, how a lot of people get kind of tripped up because they thought they were the forever and they weren't. And also there's only so much you can do to kind of mitigate, things going left. But the first step to really try to, get some understanding of the person that you're with really is just understanding, yes, this person thinks differently than I do. Everybody thinks differently than I do. Disney said one thing, but that's not reality. This is real life. And that is how we have to navigate the world, okay? So yeah, just a tidbit on male nature versus female nature. Like I said, some of it is society, some of it is biology. Women are the choosier sex for a reason. It is ultimately our bodies that go through that go through childbirth and the aftermath of it and whatnot. So it actually makes sense. Yeah, we would be choosier for a process that can literally kill us and does kill us. A process that literally has direct impact on our lives until forever, right? So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's really great that men and women think differently. But you really need to gain understanding of why that is and how that is. Because if you don't understand it, that is where you get hurt. And that's where I've gotten hurt in the past, that I didn't really understand. Like, oh, why doesn't he like me? Well, because they don't necessarily always choose the way we do. All right? So hopefully this answered any kind of question that that any of you had. I said people, that any of you had, because I still get a lot of questions, which is really great. But a lot of what I get is just like, what do dudes be thinking sometimes? Yeah. And it's not, a lot of times what we think is them playing games or them being a player is actually just male nature at work. And, yeah, I'll stop there because that's another video on, yeah, that's another video. All right. You guys have a lovely day, lovely rest of your day. For me, the sun's going down, so, rest my day indeed. All right. And so, yeah, until next time, make sure that you subscribe, follow me on all the things. I have some links below and all that jazz. All right. Deuces. All right. Bye.